ஆழ்வார் திருவடிகளே சரணம், எம்பெருமானார் திருவடிகளே சரணம், ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம், ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். ஆவணி மாசம் கேட்டை நட்சத்திரம், that is the Tirunakshataram of Kongil AchchAn, a very important Acharya in our SrIvaishNava Sampradayam. Whenever we speak about Kongil AchchAn, we have to start with Kongil pirAtti, who is his Dharmapatni. Together, we will know about them a little bit. As shown in Guru Parampara Prabhavam, ஆறாயிரப்படி. In that Grantham, the greatness of Kongil pirAtti and Kongil AchchAn are shown. Let us see that. Kongil AchchAn was born in the Kongudesham, which is near Coimbatore in the Tamil Nadu. When he was born, he was named as Sundararajan. He undergoes samskarams at the proper age. Even though he is born in a SrIvaishnava family, he is not very well versed in SrIvaishnava Sampradayam and he is not practicing it thoroughly. He gets married to Kongil pirAtti. This Kongil pirAtti is a very devoted person. Both of them live in their place and they spend their life in a very materialistic way. At some point, there was a famine, drought in their region, so they both moved to Srirangam, the headquarters of our SrIvaishnava Sampradayam. That was the time when Bhagavad Ramanuja was living in Srirangam. Kongil pirAtti and her husband Sundararajan, they were living in a upstairs place and Bhagavad Ramanuja used to visit that place where they were staying on a daily basis for bhiksha. Because he was a sannyasi, he would get bhiksha from 7 houses and he would just consume that prasAdham. That was his routine. Whenever he would come for this bhiksha, Kongil pirAtti will observe him from a distance and she slowly developed devotion towards Bhagavad Ramanuja. She was amazed at many kings and wealthy people would come and offer obeisances to Bhagavad Ramanuja. Even though Bhagavad Ramanuja did not have anything with him, he was going for bhiksha to get his own food. Still, many big personalities will come and worship Bhagavad Ramanuja and get instructions from him. Once Kongil pirAtti went to Bhagavad Ramanuja and she asked him, why are all these people coming to you and praying to you, worshipping you? You seem to have nothing in your hands and they are very wealthy, but they are coming and worshipping you. What is the reason for this? For that, Bhagavad Ramanuja patiently explained to her that he could teach them something they did not know about Bhagavan, about ourself, about the ways to attain Bhagavan, and so many other things. Because of that, they were all coming and worshipping Bhagavad Ramanuja. That was the answer given by Bhagavad Ramanuja to Kongil pirAtti. Kongil pirAtti becomes very satisfied with that and she also develops great eager to get Panchasamskaram and Upadesham from Bhagavad Ramanuja. So she prays to Bhagavad Ramanuja to bless her with that, and Bhagavad Ramanuja accepts her, performs Panchasamskaram to her, instructs Guru Parampara and Dvayamaha Mantram in a detailed way. He listens to that, and then she goes to her place, and every day she continues to worship Bhagavad Ramanuja from distance. Now the drought situation becomes better in her native place. So she and her husband, they were planning to return back to their native place. Until now, her husband has not shown any interest. Even though Kongil Piratti's husband was in Srirangam only, he was also observing Bhagavad Ramanuja. He just did not develop enough interest to surrender to Bhagavad Ramanuja. So they were planning to leave, and Kongil Piratti was wondering how she can go and worship Bhagavad Ramanuja one more time and request his permission to leave. At that time, Bhagavad Ramanuja again arrives at the same place in their street, and Kongil Piratti rushes to him and tells him that they are going back to their native place, and she requests Bhagavad Ramanuja to instruct Guru Parampara and Dvayam one more time because she had forgotten what she learnt. So Bhagavad Ramanuja patiently again gives that instruction to her, and then Kongil Piratti prays to Bhagavad Ramanuja to give her something which she can use to worship him. So Bhagavad Ramanuja gives his sandals to Kongil Piratti. She blissfully accepts those sandals, and then she leaves from Srirangam to her native place. And they go and they stay in their native place. She continues to daily do worship for Bhagavad Ramanuja's Sri Padukas, sandals, and that is her lifeline. That is how she conducts her life. When her life is going on like this, there was a situation in Srirangam where Bhagavad Ramanuja could not live in Srirangam because of the Shaiva king. So Bhagavad Ramanuja disguised himself as a grihastha wearing white clothes along with a handful of disciples. He left from Srirangam towards Melkotai, Tirunarayanapuram. On the way, in the Coimbatore region, while they were passing by the forests, they see some hunters. These hunters had the fortune to be connected with Tirumalai Nallan Chakravarti. He was a disciple of Bhagavad Ramanuja, and he went and gave instructions, gave Bhagavad Sambandham to these hunters. So these hunters see Bhagavad Ramanuja and his disciples, followers, and they were very happy. They offer worship to them, and they inform that they are connected with Tirumalai Nallan Chakravarti. Hearing that, Bhagavad Ramanuja becomes very happy by the Kainkaryam done by Tirumalai Nallan in reforming these hunters. So those hunters, they gave honey and some grains to Bhagavad Ramanuja and his disciples, and they tell them, because the entire Goshti is very tired, they have to have some prasAdham. So they tell that, the hunters tell that there is a Brahmana family in the vicinity, in the nearby village, and they say that they will take the Goshti to that Brahmana's family and they can have prasAdham there. These Bhagavad Ramanuja and the disciples, they are little bit hesitant, but they are very tired and hungry. So they decide to go there and see what is the situation. So when they go there, they see the Brahmana couple, Kongil Piratti and Sundararajan. They were there. And Kongil pirAtti becomes very happy seeing Sri Vaishnavas. Now she could not identify Bhagavad Ramanuja because it has been a while, and he was in white clothes, and also it was late in the evening, it was dark. But she was happy to see the Sri Vaishnavas, and she says that she will prepare bhogam, offer to her Tiruvaradhanam, offer in her Tiruvaradhanam, and then give the prasadam to the Bhagavatas, to the Goshti. Bhagavad Ramanuja and his disciples, they are hesitating to accept her idea. Seeing that, Kongil pirAtti says, "Don't worry, I have Bhagavad Ramanuja's connection. I am a disciple of Bhagavad Ramanuja." Hearing that, everyone becomes happy, and Bhagavad Ramanuja also acknowledges her, and he orders her to prepare food. And he also sends a Sri Vaishnava from his Goshti to watch what she is doing. So she nicely prepares bhogam and then freshens up herself, takes bath and wears new clothes, and then she goes to her puja room where her Tiruvaradhanam is present. She offers the food to her Tiruvaradhanam, which is Embermanar's Bhagavad Ramanuja's sandals only. That is what she is worshipping all along. So she offers everything to Bhagavad Ramanuja's sandals, and then she comes and worships, offers obeisances to the Goshti, and she says, "Prasadam is ready." Now Bhagavad Ramanuja asks the Sri Vaishnava, whom he sent to observe what she was doing, he asked him what she was doing. He said she went into the puja room after preparing the meal very nicely, and then she offered that to the Tiruvaradhanam there. And he says that in the Tiruvaradhanam there was something dark and lengthy. It didn't look like Bhagavan's divine form. So hearing that, Bhagavad Ramanuja asks her, "What are you doing? Who is your Tiruvaradhanam deity? Who do you do puja for?" At that time, she says, "I worship Bhagavad Ramanuja's sandals, Paduka only. That is my Tiruvaradhanam." So Bhagavad Ramanuja acknowledges her again, and he is asking her, "Can you see that Ramanujacharya is here?" Now she says, "Oh, I cannot see it because it's very dark and I cannot recognize everyone here." And Bhagavad Ramanuja always wear kashayam, saffron clothes, and he was carrying tridandam. I don't see anyone in that form. So Bhagavad Ramanuja shows his divine feet and tells her, "I am here." And hearing that, she becomes very overwhelmed with emotions. First, Bhagavad Ramanuja shows his feet, divine feet, and asks her to identify that. She looks at the divine feet and she says, "It looks like Bhagavad Ramanuja's, but I cannot confirm because you are wearing white dhoti." And then he says, "Bring the sandals, padukas, I will wear them." And he wears them. Now she becomes convinced that it is Bhagavad Ramanuja. She holds on to the divine feet and starts crying out of joy. Bhagavad Ramanuja consoles her and then tells her, "Because you have offered this food to my padukas, I cannot accept the food. Let all the disciples, devotees, they have this food." And then listening to that, hearing that, Kongil pirAtti says, "I will offer you some fruits and milk." And she offers that, and Bhagavad Ramanuja accepts that. He offers that to his Tiruvaradhana Perumal, and then he consumes the milk and fruits, while the Bhagavatas, they all consume the prasadam. After everyone ate, now Kongil pirAtti takes that Shesha prasadam, remnants, food remnants, of all the Bhagavatas, and she gives that to her husband. Her husband, being blessed by Bhagavad Ramanuja, being having developed some sattvagunam, he readily accepts that prasadam. And then he says, why don't you have some prasadam to his wife, Dharmapatni? She says, I have a problem because you don't have sambandham with Bhagavad Ramanuja. I don't want to take this prasadam. Only if you vow that you will get Bhagavad Ramanuja's sambandham, you will become a disciple of Bhagavad Ramanuja, I will accept prasadam. Otherwise, I will just not eat at all. Hearing that, Sundararajan, he becomes convinced that he should also become disciple of Bhagavad Ramanuja. So he agrees to her and convinces her, and then she accepts prasadam. Subsequently, Sundararajan surrenders to Bhagavad Ramanuja, and Bhagavad Ramanuja happily performs Panchasamskaram for him. And at that time, he names, Bhagavad Ramanuja names Sundararajan as Kongil AchchAn. That is the name that was given by Bhagavad Ramanuja to him. And subsequently, Bhagavad Ramanuja leaves from there and goes to Melkote, Tirunarayanapuram. So here we can see the power of Bhagavatas Shesha Prasadam, SrIvaishNava SEsha Prasadam, the remnants, food remnants. That changed the mindset of Sundararajan to accept Bhagavad Ramanuja as his Acharya. And subsequently, due to his great commitment, acquiring knowledge consistently, continuously, becoming a very good qualified person, Bhagavad Ramanuja appoints him as one of the 74 Simhasanadipatis. The Acharya Pitams established by Bhagavad Ramanuja, Kongil AchchAn is also one among them, and he becomes the Acharya in that Pitam. In this manner, Kongil pirAtti and Kongil AchchAn serve Bhagavad Ramanuja continuously. It is said that in the Coimbatore Erode region, there were many descendants of Kongil AchchAn, and they were nurturing our Sampradayam very nicely. There is also Kongil AchchAn Tirumaligai in Srirangam, Koil Kongil AchchAn. Here, even today, we can see the divine padukas which were given by Bhagavad Ramanuja to Kongil pirAtti. Those were being worshipped on a daily basis, even today. So, in this occasion, we enjoyed the wonderful life and glories of Kongil pirAtti and Kongil AchchAn. There is not a lot of information available about them. This much is available in Guru Parampara Prabhavam, Arayapadi. Alvar Emberamanar Jiyar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam, Jiyar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam.